Hey, what's going on, guys? Dino Gomez here, and welcome to another episode of the Dynamik 365 Six-Figure SEO podcast, where we sit down and interview top SEO experts from around the world, get into their business, figure out how they got started, how they're signing clients, and then most importantly, how they're scaling their business to 6 and 7 figures, sometimes even more. Now, in today's episode, we have a really awesome guest with us today. Today, we're sitting down with Ryan Stewart. And Ryan runs the web marketing company Webrus.org. Did I say that right?
You got it.
I did. He runs Webrus.org as well as a personal SEO blog, RyanWasHere.com. So Ryan, welcome to the show, man. Thanks so much for taking your time out of your day and sitting down with us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
Definitely. So yeah, Ryan, we'll go ahead like we do in every episode of the Six-Figure SEO podcast. We always like to start back at the beginning, give our listeners a little bit of background info, and everybody always wants to know, how did you end up doing this wild thing called SEO?
Yeah, so I got my start in digital marketing. I've been doing it now for about 8 years. I got my start with a consulting company called Deloitte, where I was doing a lot of database type marketing, a lot of analytics, big data, and then I was in consulting for about 6 years. And just through that process of, web analytics driven type marketing and big data type marketing, I started getting more into SEO, just because that was kind of how the nature of the business was. I mean, we were working on a lot of strategic type initiatives for some pretty large clients, and SEO is a pretty large part of it, but a lot of the SEO that I do now for my smaller clients is more the type of shit that I've learned online, from forums and chats and stuff like that. So, I have that corporate SEO background. That's kind of how I got into it. But I started getting really into it a little bit more when I dove into the world of, gray hat, black hat type SEO, which is where I really started to kind of to balance out the yin and the yang of what I was learning on the corporate side. So that's how I got into it.
Great. Well, you're starting at Deloitte. That's a great company to start out with. And so far on the show, we actually haven't had anybody who's really had the corporate background first before starting their own, SEO consulting business. So it'll be awesome to talk to you a little bit about that and kind of get your feedback on how that sets you up or helped you out and so forth. And maybe that kind of leads right into the next question we have is, all right, so you're working, essentially at 9 to 5, you're working for a larger agency doing big data marketing and so forth. And then all of a sudden the day comes when you're like, all right, I'm ready to do this on my own. I mean, what was that like? What really led you to deciding that you were going to take off and do this on your own?
Yeah, so when you're working as a consultant for a company like Deloitte, you have contractors that you hire to do specific type jobs. Like we hired like a PPC expert that we didn't have in-house at Deloitte on subcontracts. And just being part of the operational organization, you see what they're making. I mean, my rate as a consultant was outrageous. I mean, Deloitte charges like $500 an hour for a 23-year-old kid. It's crazy. So, and then you see what they're paying these subcontractors, like $120 an hour to do like the same type of work. So I just leveraged my relationships within Deloitte, and I didn't necessarily quit Deloitte, but I just set up an LLC around myself. And I just sourced, my buddy that was working in the contracting office at Deloitte sourced one of their contracts directly to me. So I just became a contractor, and like tripled my salary overnight just by doing that. So from there, it's a lot of work maintaining those relationships because most of those contracts are only 3 to 6 months. So you feel the highs and lows. You're making a lot more money, but you're also you fall off that cliff because once that contract is up, you got to find the next one. So it became a little more of a hustle. But once you kind of build up that network of people that trust you to do good work, you can kind of just line up contracts in advance. So I got into the contracting, and then from there, I realized that there was a big market for our type of skills. I mean, just web marketing in general, it's crazy. We take it for granted how much that we know. But you talk to some of your buddies that are starting businesses, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna market on social media, like start a Facebook page. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You can't run a business like that, man. So I started helping out some of my friends and realized that that there was a market for that big consulting type of skill with small businesses, but the biggest need was SEO. So I started just diving into SEO and learning as much as I could, and that's how I started taking on smaller clients too.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, it was kind of like you said, you're at Deloitte, you're doing some consulting, you got together with your buddy, you saw potential to kind of work with some new clients on the side of your day job, and sign some good contracts there, and then you kind of got this network going, and then all of a sudden the day came where you're like, okay, jumping ships, doing my own business, I have enough network, I know enough people in the industry where would have enough work and enough of a income to switch over, and that's the safest, smartest transition you can make.
Yeah, I mean, you can always go back to. I mean, if that's something that I realize is that as long as you keep those relationships open, you can always go back. But it's taking that first jump and quitting your job. And people always ask me about how to like work from home and quit your job. And a lot of the shit that I read online is like, just quit your job and do it. Don't do that. It's not the smart way to do it. I mean, you have 24 hours in a day, and if you have to spend 8 hours at your day job that you hate, that you're trying to quit, suck it up and do it, and use the rest of the time to build the skills and your knowledge and do the work on the side to build up your side business until you're making enough money to quit your job. Don't just dive in. It's not a smart way to do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's very strategically the way to do it. I actually was working at a marketing agency for 8 months, and it was exactly like you said. Lined up side clients. Once you have enough income on the side, it's a much easier transition and takes all that stress away and everything else that would make it unenjoyable for the start. Okay, yeah, that's the big question. Everybody's always like, how do you sign your first client? So you were using previous relationships. That's awesome. You got together with a buddy. Boom, you got the ball rolling and dove into SEO and stuff. And so so then kind of like the next question we would have, and you've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but at Dynamik 365, there's so many different types of SEO and so many different types of SEO experts. Mm-hmm. You have the local SEO, affiliate SEO, national, international SEO. You have some people who their entire business strategy is, let's sign a bunch of small local businesses at $500 a month. Let's sign 30 of them, and they're kind of wheeling and dealing, churning and burning strategy. And then you yourself, you're talking like you have some much, much larger consulting type SEO contracts. So would you consider yourself, if put yourself in a category, a corporate SEO and inbound SEO expert, or it almost sounds like you kind of have a blend going?
Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't consider myself an SEO because so there's actually a contract. The large agency that I'm working with right now, there's a contract for the director of SEO for the Southeast region, and they offered it to me, but I didn't feel like I was capable of doing that job, and it's not something that I want to do. I mean, I consider myself more of an all-around marketer. I mean, to me, it's you can't just be an SEO. I mean, it's a great skill to have, but you have to be doing more, especially if you want to keep these clients long term. I mean, shit, you can rank a local client in 2 days. I mean, it's really easy to do, but then what? How do you keep them along for 12 more months? I mean, you have to be doing other stuff. So understanding other aspects of marketing, and not just like BPC, but I'm talking about like remarketing and video marketing and content marketing and social media marketing, understanding how all these pieces fit into the puzzle, and especially with analytics. I mean, if I could tell you to learn one skill, it's analytics. By far, if you want to start working with bigger clients, you have to be data driven. You have to, SEO is a lot of theory and it's a lot of guesswork, but the data doesn't lie. And if you want to start working with big clients and taking on more responsibility, you have to be data driven, and you have to know the technical side of it as well. I mean, JavaScript, some HTML. I mean, learn that before you learn SEO, if you want my advice.
No, yeah, that's what we want. That's what we're here for. We want your advice and the knowledge nuggets and everything. So, all right, so yeah, learn some coding first, and be data driven. So I mean, you're kind of self-describing yourself as what we call just straight up lead gen expert. I mean, you're going to drive leads to the client, and then you're going to use analytics to back up the fact you're
Whatever the
growing your business.
whatever the goals of the client may be, for the for most local businesses, it's going to be leads, but for a lot of bigger clients, it's not so much leads. It's a little bit more ambiguous than that. It's engagement, and it's just traffic. I mean, I'm working with this one website now. They do about 100 million visits a year, and they don't sell anything. They're an online publisher. They just publish it, and they make money off ad revenue and partner engagements and stuff like that. So it's not so much about leads, but it's understanding the funnel and understanding how your spending affects different parts of the funnel and where to input different marketing channels to drive the most output, where it's not always leads. But for local clients, for sure, which is the majority of what I do for my side consulting is local clients, it's leads. So again, SEO is the most powerful thing, but there's only so many people searching for like Miami bakeries every month, right? So you have to find other ways to make yourself valuable and keep yourself on board. So analytics is by far the most important thing in my mind.
Definitely, and you know what? To be honest, we haven't had too many SEOs on the show yet really talk about the importance of analytics. So this is cool getting into the big data talk with you about it, because sometimes you miss a little bit. Some people, you miss part of the total equation here. It's not all about first page rankings. That's a portion of it, but client retention, analytics, things of this nature that you're touching on is equally and crucially important, as you're saying, and even more important for the bigger clients here. And so, okay, so with your business, so you have some bigger clients you're consulting with, you have some smaller local clients, you were saying. What's your business model like? Because I checked out Weberist.org and stuff, and I'm excited to talk to you about how you've been published in search engine land and BuzzFeed and all the major sites there. But your business model itself, do you subcontract as well? Do you have team members? Do you have employees, virtual assistants? How are you scaling your business? Essentially, is what everybody's always most very interested in.
So that's really my next step. Right now, with Weberist, what my goal with Weberist is so it generates about probably like 50 leads a month, just from, I have every single capture form that you can imagine on that site, and it's all, again, it's analytically driven, right, and it's technologically set up perfectly for the type of funnel that I want. I sell all those leads. I might take on one or two choice clients. If I see a lead that comes in for a local business that I know is going to be easy, then I'll take them on as a client. But for the most part, I'm selling those leads right now to another SEO agency. What I do with that site is more for personal branding, to publish content like you said before. Do you have anything that you don't want me to ask about in terms of sharing your secrets? And to me, I go out of my way to share my secrets, because if I am my own business, right? I mean, when a client comes and reads my blog and sees the type of stuff that I'm writing, they know that I know my shit. And that's how I got published on those other websites. Like Kissmetrics was the first one I got published on, and it's one of the top marketing blogs in the world. And the shit that they publish on there, it's the same type of thing. I mean, they crowdsource content from some of the best marketers in the world who want to get published on there because the audience is so big and because it's a branding tool. If you're published on that website, then, like you said, it commands a certain type of respect. Getting published on that was difficult because I had to write a 5,000-word article that was unbelievable about Instagram marketing, but it was worth it, and I didn't get paid for it. I got a tremendous backlink from it, but I got a lot of recognition from people emailing me, telling me that the article was great and stuff like that. But to me, what I'm doing with Weberist, eventually I want to scale it to my own agency and take on as many clients as possible. But for right now, I'm using it as a branding tool. I'm using it as a way to build my own email list. I mean, I get probably, my email list is probably around 2,000 right now, but I just started building it about 2 months ago. But all the emails that I get are from content marketing. It's from pushing my blog through a number of social media groups. I know you see me posting it. That's why we're having this conversation right now, because I'm sure you saw my stuff. So I built that email list without spending $1 on lead gens, and the open rate on that list is like 75% because those people are truly interested in what I have to say. So I'm using it as a branding tool, and to get my face, my voice out there as much as possible, because ultimately I would like to 10 years from now, 5 years from now, be like a Neil Patel type person, right? Where you say his name, people know who he is because he's a kick-ass marketer. And the way that he did that was by, you look at all of the sites, you look at QuickSprout, you look at Kissmetrics, you look at Crazy, they're all software companies that do 10+ million a year, but they're driven off content marketing. They're driven off SEO because they have the most unbelievable content on that website, and people subscribe to it, and that's how he does it, and he's been very successful with it. So ultimately, that's where I want that site to go. Scaling it, I have a developer on staff. He's in Romania that I use for a lot of stuff, because I have a couple websites on the side that I do, not type affiliate, but similar. And I have a VA who I use for a lot of work that I don't want to do, but for the rest of the matter, I do it all myself. I work a lot.
Well, a couple of things come to mind immediately. There's 3 things that are probably going to happen now. One, everybody's going to flood you for those SEO leads that you say that you're selling to another SEO firm. So be on the lookout for that. 2, people are going to be like, all right, what are these Facebook groups that you guys are
Google
secretly
Plus
in where you post, but we don't have to get into that.
Yeah.
And 3rd, what is going on with Romania? Everybody I talked to recently, whether it's an actual agency or not, it seems to be trending with the spot to pick up the new developers.
Yeah. So I have a dude in India that I use for a lot of the analytics stuff. Like I said, I can code some JavaScript, but I choose to outsource it because they can do it a lot faster. So like when I analytics, for every client that I do a custom analytics implementation, Google Tag Manager. I set up remarketing Facebook, remarketing Google Display, remarketing YouTube, because I like to use search traffic as top of the funnel type traffic, and then I'll remarket testimonial videos on Facebook, on YouTube. It's very, very, very powerful shit. So I'll have them do custom analytics implementations to get all that JavaScript custom coded with the right goals, the right events, because like I said, if you want to keep a client long term, they need to see value, and you can't just be like, look at like your traffic is going, like you're ranking on that page, because they're gonna be like, oh, give a shit. I use like dude in India for the JavaScript stuff for analytics, but the dude in Romania, he does unbelievable work for really cheap, man. He set up the forms on my site. I have these a header form and a footer form. That's input your email and URL for a free SEO report, and it pulls through the API from my site auditor.com, where it runs this like really good SEO report. And he set up the form where it pulls the API through, and it doesn't ever show, like, it doesn't have to redirect them ever. It just pulls it through, and it registers the lead, it registers the goal and analytics, and then it runs the report all without leaving the page, which is huge. He did it all for $50.
So that's the trick there, because for a while everybody was going Philippines, everybody was going India, but more and more recently I've been hearing Romania. So
yeah, I think they speak a little bit better English. Their hours are a little bit better, and his cost is a little bit more, but he does. I can't speak for everyone in Romania, but this dude does unbelievable work. I found him on Elance, and I've been using him for a little bit over a year now for everything that I do dev-wise. I use him, and the dude is unbelievable. He builds apps, everything. Anything I need him to do, he'll do it, and he does it at a very reasonable cost. So yeah, Romania is the way to go.
Romania is the way to go. I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm getting ready to hire another VA myself. So I haven't. I always do Philippines. So Romania,
well, that's the thing. So
check that out.
So for a VA, yeah, my VA is in the Philippines. My VA is in the Philippines, but for like a true web developer, this dude's not gonna sit there and like build citations for me for $3 an hour. But for any dev work, the Romania is the way to go. But it's funny, as you get in this business, you realize like where to look for, VAs and devs and designers. Like I would never hire a designer from India because they're just not good designers. They're pretty good developers and languages, but their design taste is a little bit different. So
Yeah.
it's funny.
That's interesting there, and that was it. It's cool that you pulled them off Elance. It seems talking to a lot of people, and those people who haven't got into hiring their first VA yet, they're always curious. Where do you find them? How do you trust them? Are you comfortable giving them login information and everything like that? You just don't hear any disaster stories. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm trustworthy even with my client sites. I don't know why, but it's because somebody asked me that same question, and I was like, that thought never crossed my mind. But I think Elance has a little bit more credibility. Fiverr out, yeah, I probably wouldn't give any cPanel login information to somebody off Fiverr, but Elance is pretty good. All the conversations are recorded within Elance, and that's how they make their money. So I don't think they're really trying to fuck anybody over.
Right. It would ruin that individual's profile for work anyway. So everybody's watching their own brand and stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
Ends up working out. Okay, so you have all these leads coming into your site, and you're bringing traffic to your site through content marketing, which we haven't heard much of. You got the Neil Patel strategy going on here, and you actually mentioned that you want to grow a business similar to his, and it seems like you're already on your way. You're probably going to be there quicker than you think. All right, so yeah, and then you touched on how the content marketing is what's bringing you new clients and stuff. So one of the things we like to do on this show actually is talk about what recommendations would you have for somebody who is thinking about getting into this industry? Because a lot of people want to listen into this show and they're thinking about diving into SEO. I mean, if you were restarting, what would you say? Who would you recommend they learn from?
That's a great question, man. So in terms of like the gurus, who would I look at? I like, I learned a lot from Alex Becker, to be honest with you. I learned a lot from him. I think, a little bit lately, I think he's got a little bit money crazy, but like, a year ago when he was still kind of coming up, he was pushing out great content. Again, like people, it's funny because a lot of SEOs like in that PBM week group or whatever that we're in, I posted something about like, about content and everyone's like, oh, like you Ma fan, like get out of here, like like, oh, content marketing, ooh. And I was like, all right, buddy, like my bad, But I see both sides. I see the need for black hat because black hat SEOs are what expose the ranking algorithm, right? I mean, they know what works, so I think you have to be really in touch with black hat. So I wouldn't call Becker black hat, but in terms of like his gray hat strategy, in terms of his linking strategy, I think he was one of the best. Bruce Clay in terms of like traditional SEO is great. Moz is okay. I think I do agree. I think it's a little bit too white hat. But I think Neil Patel is really, really, really good. I think he's probably one of the best SEOs on the planet, to be honest with you. But then again, like I read a lot more about analytics, to be honest with you. I learned a lot about SEO from these groups and chats that I get notifications on. I think it's very entertaining to read.
Definitely entertaining. Oh yeah.
It's definitely entertaining. You get a lot of bullshit theory in there, but some of it's true, some of it's not. But I mean, you got to test. If you really want to be an SEO, you have to have your own sites. You have to test. You have to be willing to spend some money. But if I could recommend one person to read, it's this dude, Avinash Kauchnik. He's a analytics dude. He's a Google evangelist. His blog, if you want to learn about analytics, it's the best blog on the internet by far. But if you're beginning SEO, I would say I don't even know, man, because I haven't really been in touch with any gurus lately. Like I said, Becker was really the last one I was on his list, but I just unsubscribed because he's just butt fucking me with offers right now. It's annoying. He used to, and that's the thing. Like Becker got to where he is from great content. Like he would post video content that was giving away everything, right? I mean, he didn't hold back, and he built a list. It's kind of ironic that he's a gray hat SEO, but he built a list, and he is where he is using white hat tactics by providing just unbelievable content that was literally telling you how to rank at this very moment, and he wasn't trying to sell you anything. And that's how he built his list, and that's why he's making, you know, $2+ million right now off of that list. So he was great, but Patel is great. All Patel's blogs are good, but honestly, just get out there and test, man. I mean, the only way to really find out what works is to do it yourself, because a lot of people out there are full of shit and just trying to sell you something. So just do it on your own, figure it out.
Do it on your own. You know, build your own blog, get your own website, get into WordPress. Like you
Yeah,
said, you
learn
recommend
WordPress.
some
Learn WordPress.
coding. Follow
Yeah.
Neil Patel. He's a straight shooter, and he does it all. Becker as well. You got to, like you said, you got to know both sides of the game. Becker does the gray hat and PBN stuff, and you know he's definitely one of the best at it. And I love Becker. He's hilarious.
I think he's great. I think he's
That
great. A
guy's
lot of people hate
hilarious.
on him, but I think he's great. And I'll tell you what, people shit on him, but they're just hating, man. Like, you can't hate on success. Like, say what you want about Moz, but like, it's a fucking $50 million company. Like, it's the leading SEO company in the world. You know what I mean? So, and they're there for a reason. And Becker too. Like, hate on him all you want, but the dude is killing it right now, and he's very good at what he does. Like, you call him not a good SEO, he doesn't care. You know what I mean? He's still making more money than you, so he doesn't care.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So those are definitely two guys to follow if you're just getting started and stuff. And so yeah, Ryan. So with Webbers.com, like you said, you have a couple you know, maybe buddies, web designers and stuff that you have work on other projects and stuff with you. But everybody always wants to know too, like when you're, you know, as far as your business model. So we have some people that go the agency route, and they actually, you know, go ahead, they grab a office building, they have staff that come in, they, you know, that they watch over and manage.
Yeah.
You have other people with these remote business models where everybody's freelancing and stuff. I mean, how is your actual structure, I would say, of your SEO company? How is that built?
Yeah. So it's like I said, I make 75% of my yearly money off of consulting with big companies. They pay the best. You know, they pay me by the hour, but they pay very well. That takes the majority of my time. I don't, you know, I give that the majority of my effort too. So the rest, the other 25%, is local clients. It's you know, friends and family that I'm helping out that just kind of have me on retainer to do general web marketing for them. But you know, I guess I'm my own brand. You know, I'm definitely like the freelancer route right now. I'd like to have you know, my ultimate goal is to have an agency, not necessarily an SEO agency, but an overall web marketing agency, like a Digitas or a Sapien Nitro that I'm working for now. So that's my ultimate goal. But it's a pain in the ass. Like I about a year ago, I had a staff of about 3 people locally, and you know, like the cost that ride up. You know, you could be $1 million agency, but man, there's so many costs that go into it. It comes out of your pocket quick. I'm making more now just on my own as a consultant than I was, you know, with a almost 7-figure agency. So right now I'm a freelancer. Eventually I would like to get back in the agency route, but you know, I am kind of still a student of the game. I want to learn as much as possible about everything, you know, SEO, paid advertising, you know, UX, UI, all that type of stuff, because it plays a big role. You know, local clients are great; they're easy to rank, but it's small fish. You know, I'd rather have a $3 million contract with a bigger company, you know, that doing everything for them, than a $500 a month client. But someday,
You know, and the smaller clients, they bug you more too.
dude,
It's,
they're like,
you know, it's just
they're the worst. They are the worst. You know,
the
they do.
bigger clients are focusing on bigger stuff. They,
Yeah.
you know, they check in less often. As long as you get the job done, you have analytics to back it up, and you know, they're on to the next project and so forth. I was actually just having this conversation with somebody, so it's really a funny system there how that works out. But more work for the smaller client, but nonetheless, setting expectations. Actually, if you don't mind, we chat about that for a moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, how do you go about setting expectations? So we've heard different strategies where some people say, you know, we have an hour to communicate each month over a set phone call. It's going to be different with your consulting situation, but do you have any thoughts on that? Just that your time is
so I've found that even if you're doing a bad job, in terms of SEO. If you answer their calls when they call, this is just client management. They're at least gonna keep you on. If you're just responsive. So I try and make client responsiveness my number one goal with them, because let's be honest, most of the time, especially with local clients, you could go an entire month without doing anything. And it's difficult to come up with tasks that you've done for them. So I try and build my contracts. For the small businesses, I charge a monthly fee. I'll usually do like between 500 and 1,000 a month, depending on the competition. But I try and build in hourly tasks to that. And I'll send them, monthly status, monthly reports with, ranking updates, analytics reports that I've set up for them, and I'll have a monthly call with them to cover everything and just, cover the questions, and that seems to keep them very happy. But I'm also very honest with them. I just signed a new client yesterday. They have 6 locations. They're a local business with 6 locations, and they want to rank for all of them. And yeah, setting expectations is huge, because some of these people come in and expect it to be like PPC, where they're, tomorrow they're gonna start making more money. So setting expectations in terms of the process. So the proposal that I send over is very, very, very in depth. It covers everything under the moon, just to make it seem like we're doing a huge thing. And especially with some of these bigger websites, the technical aspect is very important. When I first started taking on clients, it was all about building links. But I found that doing the technical things right and dotting your T's and crossing your I's, especially in WordPress, it's really easy to do. But doing that stuff, I don't know. And then usually I'll actually charge extra for links. I'll usually hit with a fee on top of that for like monthly link building costs and stuff like that. Because I'll just buy most of them.
Interesting. So you do charge extra for link building. You kind of say this is what the SEO on-site, registering your business with Google, doing all that type of work, and then you say link building is additional.
I tell them straight up too. Most of the time, they're PBN links. I'm going to do my best to do outreach, but it's just not like you're not paying me enough to do link outreach. Like if I'm doing corporate SEO, so like the when I did corporate SEO and the SEO that I do with the major websites, it's a lot less about links. It's more about link cleaning and link management, and so much more about technical SEO. I mean, code bloat and page speed and internal link structures, taxonomies, semantic stuff. All that stuff is much more important. But with local clients, like you have to buy links. Like like nobody wants to link to like a freaking a foot doctor's website. It's just not going to happen. So I tell them straight up, like I'm gonna.
Be honest. Do you have a foot doctor client? That was out of left field right there.
Yeah, I do.
The foot doctor client.
Yeah, that was on my mind. And I actually just had this conversation with him today because, I told him, I was like, he's not really paying me. He's paying the minimum. He's paying me $500, and I told him, if you want links, like you're gonna have to pay me for them, and this is where I'm gonna get them from. Like I have a PBN of about 30. Nothing too crazy. I stopped building it about months ago just because I found that the time that I was putting in to build it wasn't worth what I was getting on the back end. It's a lot easier to just buy links from people in those groups. It's easy to find. So it's great to have a PBN, but they are costly, and shit, you spend a lot of time like looking for domains, setting them up. It's a very costly endeavor. They're effective, but I just prefer to use other people's now. But yeah, I'll just charge them extra for links mostly every month.
It's always interesting to talk, listen to everybody's selling techniques when it comes to SEO services.
I agree.
And things that they do. Size of the contract. You hear people say, "Oh, contract is 3 pages, bare minimum, so it's not overwhelming." You hear other people that swear by get as detailed as possible, expectations, everything. There's no right or wrong, but it's always interesting to hear how different everybody does it there.
Yeah, everyone has a different way to do it. There is a wrong way to do it, don't get me wrong. I used to work with this kid who did it the wrong way. bad client management. I mean, just like I said, I mean, if you're there, just pick up the phone when they call. Like, even if you do something bad, you know, especially like get their website slapped, like, be mad about it. You know, pick up the phone, talk to them. Um, I like to kill them with detail myself because, you know, I think when you get in too much detail, people are like, oh wow, like I actually don't want to be involved in this. Like, go ahead and do it. Um, and I found that just being as honest with people as possible. Some SEOs, I agree. Some SEOs, and to each their own. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Some SEOs will be like, you know, like we're building links. We shouldn't tell them about it. Like, and they'll tell them that they're building like white hat links. Um, you know, you can do that. That's cool. I've done that too. But I've just found that, you know, I guess I'm in a position where I don't necessarily need to take them on as a client. So I'm just kind of like, you know, if you want to work with me, this is how I do it. And to be honest with you, I have closed every single client I talk to when I talk to them that way, as opposed to before when they, I just tell them how it is, and if they want to work with me, then that's how I do it. If not, then that's fine too. So there's
So
no wrong.
that's a great piece of advice right there. We haven't heard that. So yeah, people wonder, okay, if I am using PBN, should I let our clients know? Should I inform them?
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you just tell them, like, honestly, like, who the fuck would want to rank to, like, especially like to the home, like, and I like, yes, link outreach. If you did your research, you could find some very niche sites that would link to some directory site for, like, yeah, exactly. But like, you're not paying me enough. $500 a month is not enough for me. That's going to take me like a good probably 20 to 30 hours of work to do that, to score like one link. It's not worth it. And a couple PBN links is all that they really need. It's not going to hurt their site, especially if the PBN is well put together. I mean,
Yep.
The worst thing that happens now, you're not going to get de-indexed for PBN sites. The PBN will get de-indexed, and the link just won't count for anything. So, that's about it.
Yep, that was well said. That's like one of the biggest myths I feel like people miss, is that they think that they're actually getting penalized by the PBN links, and no, it's just the PBN's getting erased. They lost some link juice to their site. The rankings are going to fall. Google didn't actually reach out to them and nail them, unless there are cases, of course. You get in Google Webmaster Tools, you'll get the notice.
Yeah, if you're
very, very unlikely that you get that manual penalty. So.
Yeah, and I think when you're working with sites that need that many links, you shouldn't be using PBNs. And this is what I tried to articulate to someone when they called me a Moz fan. Like, when you're doing corporate SEO, if you're using PBNs, you're a fucking idiot. Because first of all, they have their brand to worry about. I mean, if they get caught, it becomes news. It becomes internet news that Best Buy got penalized by Google. They lost $20 million because they got the index. I mean, PBNs should really be reserved for smaller to mid-sized websites that can't generate their own links. But with bigger websites that actually do have good content, you should invest in great content. I mean, invest in great writers, and that's when you can really start to charge more for SEO. Because if you're building like 800 PBN links, and it's too competitive, and that website is outmatched. It's just not. It's not going to happen for them.
Well, that's gonna look pretty unnatural to Google as well. Yeah. Even if you have a PBN link linking to all these foot doctor and obscure websites, because that's why you use PBNs, and then all of a sudden, one of the money sites is this legitimate Fortune 500 company. It may or may not make sense to them and stuff as well. So, interesting talking to you about linking strategies and stuff there. That's all great news. And everybody, all SEOs and all internet marketers, they have their favorite tools when it comes to whether it's automating reporting or even just looking at analytics and stuff. You kind of mentioned you get into some big data and stuff. So if you don't mind it, we would be curious, what are your favorite online analytics or marketing tools right now that are helping you get the job done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I use, to be honest with you, Webmaster Tools and Analytics are my two. Google Analytics are my two go-tos for no matter what. Because to be honest with you, if you know how to use those two tools that are both free, and you set them up to talk to each other, you can really cross off a lot of these other like SEO tools that you don't need. Webmaster Tools it has your inbound links. It has pretty much everything. It has all your technical information within it. So You know, a lot of these other SEO tools are great because they have a little bit cleaner UI for like a more beginner SEO. But if you can use those two tools, they're very, very powerful, and most SEOs don't. You know, they complain about like not having the keyword data, but if you know how to use webmaster tools within analytics, you can actually see the search queries and impressions and see the click-throughs on those, which is actually more powerful than seeing the people that just came to your site, because then you can look at that data and say, you know, this blog post, it's obviously it's ranking, right? I mean, it's getting 10,000 impressions a month, but only 2 clicks. You know, then you start looking at your metadata. Is the description off? Is the title tag off? You know, something that's not driving clicks. I mean, and again, that's part of being a data-driven SEO and really starting giving value to your clients, because some people will just be like rankings, rankings, rankings. But if you know how to look for the right type of data, it's in front of your face, and you don't necessarily have to spend less money. But I use a lot of free tools. I use Majestic's browser plugin. I'm a big TrustFlow fan. I think TrustFlow is probably the best indicator of domain quality. I have the Moz bar just for DA for like when I'm browsing Google results. Ahrefs is probably the best backlink checker. If you're gonna pay for a backlink checker, it means $80 a month, so I don't pay for it. But I think it's the best backlink checker. So all 3 of them I think have value. But if I'm looking for quality links for a website, I'm using Majestic. If I'm looking to do backlink analysis, I'm using Ahrefs. And to be honest with you, those are the 2 tools that big companies use. The SEOs at the agency that I work with, you know, that are working with these humongous sites, 100 million visits a year, they use Ahrefs for backlink analysis. So, and Webmaster Tools.
Awesome, awesome. That's cool. Yeah, again, you were the first one to say favorite SEO tools or go-to were Google Analytics and Webmaster Tools. You're obviously the data man. You got all this on lock here, so it's cool getting this new angle and stuff. You know, we haven't had this on the show yet. So yeah, as we kind of finish up here, Ryan. So let's see. I guess the last question we kind of like to end the show with here is we know you do a lot of content marketing stuff, but what is your favorite go-to marketing? We'll call it a hack, so to speak. But you know, we had a couple people say doing infographics for a bunch of links. We had people talking about outreach. We had people talking about Brian move there and PBN links or something specific. But do you have one move where you're like, this is my bread and butter? I always do.
I got a couple of ones. I'm gonna share. This is a Quora hack. I love web hacks personally. Like I'm all about web hacks. I mean, first of all, like video SEO. Just I got published on a couple of sites, and I also have a good post on my blog about video SEO, just how to optimize, you know, the video to rank step by step, everything you need. So video is one. Obviously, YouTube. I use YouTube all the time. I think it's great for building awareness and also traffic. That's a great thing clients love too. If you can get them like, you know, 10,000 views on a video a month, that's an easy win, and it's easy to do, and it's very low cost, and they're easy as shit to rank too if you know what you're doing. So, but my favorite hack right now is this Quora hack that I have. And this is I personally like I'm a content marketer. I have a white hat side, but I'm just a black hat.
I can tell you're getting excited about this. I'm kind of curious here what you're about to say.
I love like black hat, just like fucking dirty ass tricks. So Quora is fucking amazing for driving traffic. I know you probably like read some blog posts about like ultimate guide to Quora, but it's crap. I mean, the only way to have success on Quora is to find threads that have a ton of upvotes on them. So like if you log on to Quora and see like something about SEO that a ton of other people have upvoted because they think that question is important, then that thread is getting like thousands of views a day. So I wanted to figure out how to do this. So like, you know, so one of those threads will have like 1,000 replies from people. And when you reply to a new one, you get put at the bottom, right? So like your view and your link at that doesn't get seen. So I was like, how the fuck can I get mine from the very bottom of this to all the way at the top? Because like the top reply on those, are you familiar with Quora at all?
I am, and I actually have a little bit of a hack myself using Fiverr, but I'm curious
I think it's probably the same thing where you pay and then you pay for upvotes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I found this one. because you know the CEO or the old CEO of Moz, Rand Fishkin, that fucking nerd. He'll like write on a bunch of these, and people will like upvote his shit all the way to the top. So there was one. It was like, "What's your favorite SEO like tip and advice?" And he had like 500 upvotes. So I was like, "This fucker!" Like, so I wrote a response, and you have to write good responses too. So I wrote a good response, and I posted a link to a blog post, and then I went on Fiverr and bought like 600 upvotes for $5. And like all these like Indian names started like upvoting my thing, and it got all the way to the top. And I went to bed that night, and I woke up and I checked my analytics, and I tag every link that I post on the web. I tag with the URL builder in Google, so I know exactly. I'm not just like getting random direct traffic. That's another thing. So like if you post a link to like a forum somewhere and 500 people hit it, it'll actually show up in your direct traffic. If you tag that URL in URL Builder, you can name that URL, so it'll show up in your analytics as like Quora response 15, whatever it is, right?
Quora response upvoted by Fiverr 600 times.
Exactly. I mean that's actually what I do, because I like to know exactly where my traffic is coming from. And especially what traffic is converting, because if that traffic ends up converting to like 15 leads, then I'm just going to keep doing that. Like, fuck SEO, why would I do SEO when I can do that, right? So so I upvoted it, and it got to the top, and I woke up in the morning, and I just bought it off Fiverr, and I didn't even really see it, whatever. I saw like the things started coming in, and I woke up, and I had like 500 new hits to the website from that one link overnight.
In one day. In one night.
In one day, yeah. I woke up in the morning, like, and I checked it like 16 hours later. But I looked at it, I was like, "Is this a fucking glitch?" Yeah, but the problem is that a lot of those upvotes got taken off. So like,
No.
But
Are they
what
catching
happened
on?
was, I think so. But what happened was it starts getting like some organic upvotes, because like people see you at the top and they're like, "Oh, this must be a good response." So like I ended up getting like 100 actual upvotes from it. So like I'm sitting somewhere in the middle, and it still gets some traffic, but yeah, that's a good web hack.
Better hit up your VA to order another Fiverr gig and reload it.
I know. Damn, I can't believe you knew about that one. Shit, that was a good one. That's a good one, though, right? Quora's really good for traffic. And then I have another one with Google Plus. It's not really a hack. It's just Google Plus communities are very, very, if you can find the right ones. I did a post on my blog about I posted 200 high authority domains that I had gotten links on in the past year. And I uploaded it to my blog as a spreadsheet, and I went on Google Plus and I found this SEO community, and then I just posted it in the SEO community, and then I just like plus one like the previous like 500 posts, and that post is driven in like 2 weeks. It's driven almost 1,000 hits to my website.
Wow.
Yeah, so Google Plus is really good. Yeah, yeah, and it's driven a lot of leads too. A lot of leads. I mean, but you have to have a good piece of content. So like, in my opinion, like the whole like skyscraper technique, like the Brian Dean technique, like people aren't gonna link to your shit. Like, it's more about kind of in the now traffic, social traffic, like finding those active communities, staying involved in like that PBM week group. I mean, I posted one today and it did like 100 visits to the website. It's kind of repeat traffic at this point, but finding those types of active communities, to me, again, like I am an SEO first, but I'm a web marketer at heart, and I just care about, at the end of the day, what's driving the most leads, because that's how I make money. So if I'm making more money, if I make more leads off of social traffic, like, I can give a shit about SEO. And what I found is when you take that mindset, when you take the end goal of looking at leads, your organic traffic just kind of increases as is, because the more content that you create, good content, and you're posting it to all these groups, what happens is you start to get indexed for all these different posts, and your organic traffic just picks up with it. So honestly, in my opinion, links are becoming less and less valuable, and that's where I think content is the most valuable, because, like I said, I mean, when somebody clicks and reads your post and it's like, fuck, this is a good post, like, I actually want to stay in touch with this dude. Like, let me sign up to his newsletter. Like, let me follow him on Facebook. That is the most valuable type, to me, as opposed to like ranking for like boner pills, you know what I'm saying, which is great, but understanding how like consumers are, I mean, ranking first for a term is great, but the multiple attribution points that people do online, like people don't just like Google a term, click on it, and buy it right away. Like, that's not the way it works. Like, people want to shop around, they want to investigate stuff. So it's not just about ranking anymore. You know what I mean? It's about hitting those multiple touch points and finding different ways to get to that consumer and spreading it as thin as possible across as many channels as possible and building yourself into a brand and like building that trusted content. And once you do that, people will willingly submit their information to you. It's not about like, you know, like submit your information and get this like awesome kick-ass like hyper ranking formula, because what happens is you get somebody to opt into that, they see what you're offering is shit, and they opt out right away, and you just wasted all that time and money on those ads. So if you just create really good content, it's not that hard to do with all around you. Just find it, find out what people are talking about, formulate it into a great article, and distribute it. It's really powerful shit, man. It's really, really powerful shit. So in that sense, I'm white hat, but you know, I still do like the black hat shit too.
Well, like you said, unless the keyword's just getting a ridiculous amount of searches per month,
Exactly.
ranking number one overall for that is not going to drive traffic to you overnight like your one Quora hack did.
Exactly.
Like you posted in a forum, drove 100 visitors right back to your site that quickly either. So yeah, so you're a businessman at true heart. That's why you're killing it. Because you're looking at all those numbers that actually matter, like you said, that translate to leads, translate to revenue, new business growth. That's ultimately what matters and stuff. Well, dude, Ryan, you have given us way too many knowledge bombs here. You're just ton of awesome stuff that we hadn't heard before. I hadn't heard before ever. Really, really cool sitting down talking to you about big data. You know, some of the other bigger clients you have. Your entire philosophy on content marketing was something we haven't had yet here on the Dynamik 365 blog. So it's awesome to hear all that, and you give away some amazing tips and hacks and resources and stuff there as well. So yeah, man, really, really appreciate you coming here on our show. And you know, for people that want to keep up with you, because people are going to want to you know, get in touch with you and you know, also subscribe. Like you said, you give away so many tips and you're completely transparent with all of your SEO moves on your own site. Do you want people visiting your personal blog or your business website?
Webrist.org is the best way. Check out the blog. All my social stuff is up there. You can follow me on social. But yeah, I mean, the blog, webrist.org. I'm trying to post something new every week. I'm working really hard at it. I just posted something today about internal link silos, which I think is pretty kick-ass. Be sure to check it out, and you know, reach out if you have any questions. I'm very responsive, and yeah, definitely get in touch.
Awesome. So there you have it, guys. Webrist.org, Webris.org, and then you can look them up, Ryan Stewart. We'll also have links and show notes underneath this episode on our website, dynamik365.com, so you can go ahead, check out the show notes, click right on over to Ryan's site, and we'll recap some of the awesome points and tips that Ryan gave away here today. So again, Ryan, thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll talk to you soon here.
All right, man. Take care.
All right.